Some devoted their lives to improving their social position. One such was Christopher Sykes, the younger son of a Yorkshire baronet. The Sykes family estate at Sledmere consisted of 34,000 acres in East Yorkshire. Christopher Sykes divided his time between the house in Yorkshire and London.
He was obviously, an intellectual. That was one side of his life. But the other side was he would go to London and leave what he considered to be a totally idle, useless life, going round from party to party, trying to sort of ingratiate himself into a higher society.
Because younger sons didn't inherit, their marriage prospects weren't good. Many went into the church or the army. Sykes became MP for Beverley, but during 27 years in the Commons he only ever got one bill passed. It was about the preservation of seabirds and earned him the nickname the Gull's Friend. However, during those years he had made progress socially, and was now mixing with the likes of Hartington and the Prince of Wales.
That's right, there's one.
The present Christopher Sykes, also a younger son of the family, is fascinated by his great-great-uncle's story.
Now, these relate to the time when he became a very close friend and confidant of the Prince of Wales, later Edward VII, who he met in the 1860s. And they became very, very firm friends. This would be a Goodwood racing party. And wherever the Prince went, Christopher was always there, you see. That is a shooting party at Wynyard. The Prince of Wales is there, wearing a Homburg hat, with Christopher right in the middle again. Another house party at Sandringham, with a lot of foreign royalty. Prince Edward of Saxe-Weimar, the King of Portugal, Prince Nicholas of Greece, Prince John of Glucksburg, wherever that was. Don't know what's become of him.
And on the end of the royal lineup, the now ever-present Christopher Sykes.
I mean, this must have been his finest hour, really, because the Prince of Wales was the leader of society, and Christopher Sykes was his closest confidant. So if his aim was to be at the top of the social ladder in London, he'd reached it now. But it soured in some house party when all the gentlemen were sitting round after dinner. And the Prince of Wales suddenly took it upon himself to pick up his glass of brandy that he was drinking and tip it over Uncle Christopher's head. When the brandy landed on his hand, trickled down his face to the golden beard, Christopher showed a rare thing, an excess of presence of mind. Not a muscle moved. Then, after a pause, he inclined to the Prince and said, without any discernible trace of arrogance or amusement, "As your Royal Highness pleases." The effect of this is recorded as being quite indescribably funny. The whole room burst into violent paroxysms of laughter, and no one laughed more heartily, and certainly not more loudly than the Prince. Laughter begat laughter. The jest was prolonged till the very act of mirth was unbearable. Christopher dripped. Without a smile on his face, he made no effort to mop up the tiny rivulets of spirit. The brandy had been poured by a royal hand. It was sacred. And I'm afraid, having done that, things just went from worse to worse. It wasn't a glass of brandy, it was a whole decanter that would go over his head. They used to push him under a billiard table after dinner and sort of hunt him with billiard cues.
As well as being humiliated by the royal set, Sykes was left virtually bankrupt by his efforts to entertain the Prince. In that respect, he was not alone. The extravagant demands of high society left many aristocrats deep in debt.